Hello everyone and welcome. In this video, I'd like to give a quick introduction to the Einstein Analytics Recipe Editor. The intent is that this video will give you a basic understanding of some of the simple mechanics of using the recipe editor so that when we're having some interactive discussion about some of the more advanced features, it will make it easier to follow along because you will understand the basic mechanics of how the recipe editor works. So with that, let's go ahead and log into our Salesforce instance. So here we are, and we're going to be using the Einstein Analytics Recipe Editor. So get into Einstein Analytics, we activate the app launcher, and you should see Analytics Studio available within your app launcher. Now, one of the easier ways that I think to create a recipe is I'm usually thinking of which data set will be the foundation of the recipe. So I'm going to go ahead and in this example browse all items and look for my data sets. And here I have an interesting opportunities data set I know about. So on the far right, I'm going to click the drop down arrow, and that's where I can see the option to create recipe. I simply name the recipe what I would like to call it. And now I am launched into the recipe editor. A quick highlight of commonly used features within the recipe editor are the preview and the columns panels. Oftentimes you're dealing with lots of columns in your data, and the columns panel will be the much easier way to search for them, activate them, and jump back into the preview panel to be editing or transforming them and performing other operations. On the far right, you might have noticed that as we're looking at different columns, we're getting consolidated profiling information about the columns we are looking at. Now, the dataset editor is only sampling a subset of your data, so please always be sure to make sure you examine the number of rows that are being displayed and take that into account when you're looking at the profiling information. Also, we have the attributes panel over here, which is a quick and easy way to be editing labels and names of columns that you are adding as you are creating more formulas with the recipe editor. If you do not have enough screen real estate, you can always turn the column profile on and off. Now, if you look at the bottom of the screen, another interesting feature is Einstein Suggestions, where Einstein is giving you suggested formulas based on the columns that you are selecting. And you can see that those change based on the type of column that you are looking at, and also some additional information about suggestions over here. Now, at the top here, you see some buttons. One of the most commonly used buttons here will be the Add Data button. So if you would like to join two data sets together, you will use the Add Data button. And another frequently used feature is the formulas. If you click the drop down of a column, you can see the various formulas that can be applied. Certainly the bucketing formula is a very frequently used feature, and if you want to do aggregations, you may do a group by. So thank you. Those were some of the basic tactical components of working with the recipe editor.